Hi everyone, my name is Rashmi. Welcome to my channel, Keep Calm and Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little Hello Kitty doll. If you're after a written pattern, this can be found within the video as a caption or subtitles as usual, or you can find the written pattern as a printout following the link in the description box below. We're now going to start off by making a magic circle. To do this, you're going to grab hold of your yarn and wrap it around your two fingers, making an X at the base. Turn them over, and this is the side we're working with. We're going to put our crochet under the first loop and pull up a loop using the second bit of yarn like so. Now we're going to pull this bit of yarn using our crochet. So pick this up from here and we're going to move it through the loop on our crochet like this, and that makes your magic circle. Now if you're not a great fan of magic circles, we have an alternative which I will show you in a moment. So from here, to start round 1, you can work 6 single crochets within this circle. So let's go ahead and do this. So put your crochet back into the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on our crochet, yarn over, pull through both. That's my first single crochet. We are going to need 6 altogether. Here's my second, third, fourth, fifth, and my 6th one. And once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to close the gap between your stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. And when you do this, all your stitches are nice and close together. And from here, you're going to start working on top of the stitches around here. Okay, now if you are not great fan of magic circles, I'm going to show you an alternative. We are going to undo this whole thing. We're going to start again. And this time I'm going to start off by making a slip knot. So use whatever method you like to create a slip knot. And once you have your slip knot, we're going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. Once you have your 2 chains, you're going to skip the first chain which is next to your hook, and we are going to work our stitches in the second chain from your hook. So from here, you're going to go straight into that chain, stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's my first single crochet. The effect is exactly the same, and just use the method that you prefer. Here we go. Here's my second, third, fourth, fifth, and my 6th stitch. Now once you've worked your 6 single crochets, you're going to pull on this end again, same as before, and that should eliminate the gap between your stitches. Now as you can tell, it doesn't make any difference which method you use because the effect is exactly the same. Now from here, we're going to work our round 2. To begin round 2, you're going to locate your first single crochet of your previous round, which is right around here. I'm going to slip my crochet inside it, just the top part, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to work 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So that's my 1 single crochet. I'm going back in that stitch and working my second one. Here we go. Once you work 2 single crochets in the same stitch, that completes that particular part. We're going to go on to the next one and work 2 single crochets again. Each time when you're working 2 single crochets in one stitch, it's called an increase. So we are going to work an increase in each of these stitches. Here's my third one. Again, working 2 single crochets in that same stitch again. Fourth one. Fifth. And my final 6th one. Finish off by working 2 single crochets in this stitch as well. Now at the end of this round, you should have a total of 12 stitches. We're now going to Start the next round by working a single crochet in the next stitch. As you may notice, we are working in a spiral, so we are not going to be closing any of these rounds. We're just going to continue each of these rounds one after the other. So that's my first single crochet of round 3. From here, I'm going to work an increase in the next stitch, which means 2 single crochets in the same stitch, like this. Now from here, I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of each of my rounds. So this one started at this first single crochet. I'm going to put this stitch marker in, which will allow me to just work on my stitches and not worry too much about the count. So from here, the repeat for this round is 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, a single crochet followed on with an increase all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and to do this you're going to work a single crochet in the next stitch, followed by another single crochet in the next stitch after that. So now we have 2 single crochets in a row. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place in the first stitch of this round, and we're going to follow these 2 single crochets on with an increase, so 2 single crochets within the same stitch. And just like this, we're going to complete this whole round by working a single crochet, and an increase. So go ahead and finish this round and meet me back here. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to have 3 single crochets in a row. So that's my first, second and third. Now we're going to follow those 3 single crochets on with an increase, so 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Just like this, we're going to follow this repeat to finish this round. So 3 single crochets in a row followed on with an increase, 3 single crochets and increase all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches. We're now going to start our next round with a single crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to follow this on with 3 more single crochets to make the total 4. So we're going to have 4 single crochets in a row for this round, and we're going to follow this on with an increase, so 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place, and we're going to complete this round by working 4 single crochets in a row followed on with an increase, 4 single crochet and increase all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 36 stitches. We're now going to start the next round with 5 single crochets in a row, and we're going to follow that on with an increase, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches. We're now going to start the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. I'm going to follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and that will complete our round. And we're going to repeat this twice to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of 2 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 42. You'll now notice that your work has started to curve, and that is perfectly normal because we are planning to make a head with this one. So now we're going to start off the next round. So to do this, you're going to have 6 single crochets in a row, and then we're going to follow that on with an increase and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 48 stitches. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. We're going to follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around to complete this round, and then we're going to repeat it one more time to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. After 2 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 48. We're now going to start the next round by working 7 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh. So once we have our 7 single crochets, we're going to work an increase. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch like this. Once you have your 7 single crochets and an increase, you're going to repeat this process all the way around to complete this round. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 54. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. And let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. We're now going to follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around to complete this round. And then we're going to repeat the same process 7 times to have 7 rounds of just single crochet. Now, just one little tip, we are going to work a few stitches together. When you are working quite a few of these rounds of single crochets, sometimes it's very easy to lose count of how many rounds you have done. So what I suggest is that you work a few stitches. Let's pull this stitch out so I don't lose it. And I'm going to pull this thread that comes out from the center through around any of these stitches. So maybe from the same one where we have just finished. So I'll actually do it one next to it. Here we go. So I'm going to pull this thread from the center through this stitch. So that shows that this was the first round of single crochets that I started with, because once I'm finished with this stitch marker moves on to the next round, but I will still have this particular thread to count the rounds from here on as a reference. So go ahead and work your 7 rounds of single crochet and meet me back here. At the end of 7 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 54. Now, as you can see, I kept moving my stitch marker each time. However, this little thread that we pulled out from this stitch allows us to count how many rounds we have done. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we've finished 7 rounds, and now we are going to take a moment to insert the eyes into this head. To do this, you're going to first of all make sure that the stitch that you finished with is facing the back. So I'm going to place this down gently like this, and I'm going to squish this head downwards so that the stitch I finished with is in the center like this. Now, once you have the center outlined, we are going to count the rounds down from the top, and we're going to insert the eyes in between round 16 and 17. So let's go ahead and count. That's round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now this is my round 16, and we're going to insert the eyes in between round 16 and 17. So just the space right here. So now I know where I'm inserting the eyes. I'm going to leave my nail there and just make sure that the stitch is still in the middle where we finished. I'm going to grab hold of the eye we're using. I'm using one of these teddy bear eyes. These are security eyes. Once you put them in, they don't tend to come out, so they're perfect for toys. So this is the round they're going in. So from the center, I'm going to count 5 stitches over. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to insert this one in this particular stitch. So 5 stitches over. Let's put this in and grab hold of the other eye. And now, because we moved our hand from there, we are going to count 10 stitches in between the 2 eyes. So this eye's here, I'm going to count 10 stitches in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And in the 10th one, I'm going to insert this eye. There we go. Once we've inserted the eyes, we are going to puff up the head again and have a quick look if we are happy with the positioning of the eye. And that looks perfect to me. Now once you've got this in place, you're going to turn it around, and once you're happy with the positioning, you're going to put the security backing on. Now be aware, once this goes on, it doesn't tend to come off. So we have to be very sure that we are happy with the eyes position. Now, let's place the second one in here as well. There we go. Now we can go ahead and start the next round. So to do this round, we are going to be working some decreases in. So let's take the stitch marker off and work a single crochet in our first stitch and place the stitch marker back in place. Here we go. After this, I'm going to work 6 more single crochets in a row to make the count to 7. So here we go, that's my 1. And once you have your 7 single crochets in a row, let's just count to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got my 7 single crochets. I'm going to work a decrease. When we say decrease, we are simply working 1 single crochet but between 2 stitches. So to do this, you're going to insert your crochet in the next stitch and pull up a loop. And we're going to do the same with the stitch after that. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. When you have 3 loops on your crochet, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. That reduces the number of stitches we have. So from here, you're going to work 7 single crochets again. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now I'm going to show you the decrease one more time. You're going to insert your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and do the same with the stitch after that. Insert your hook inside and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your crochet. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. Now just like this, you're going to follow the same repeat all the way around. So 7 single crochets followed on with a decrease, 7 single crochets and a decrease all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 48. We're now going to work our next round, and in here we're going to work 6 single crochets in a row. So here's my first one. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place and work 5 more single crochets. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and 6th. Let's double check. We've got 6 single crochets in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to work a decrease. To do this, you're going to pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 1 from the next one and 1 from the stitch after that. Once you have your 3 loops on your crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops in one go like this. And just like this, go ahead and finish this round by working 6 single crochets followed by a decrease, 6 single crochets, a decrease all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 42 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and we're going to work 5 single crochets in a row, followed on with a decrease, 5 single crochets, a decrease all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 36 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and we're going to work 4 single crochets in a row. So here's my first. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. And let's follow this on with 3 more. Here's my second, third, and fourth. Once you have your 4 single crochets in a row, we're going to follow this on with a decrease. To do this, pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches like this. 3 loops on our crochet, yarn over, pull through all 3. Follow this on with 4 single crochets, a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work 3 single crochets in a row, followed on with a decrease, 3 single crochets, decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round you should have a total of 24 stitches. Now this is our last and final round, and we're going to work 2 single crochets in a row. 1, 2, and we're going to follow this on with a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on our crochet, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. Just like this, go ahead and finish this round and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 18. We're now going to work a slip stitch in our next stitch over. To do this, you're going to put your crochet inside the next stitch, pull up a loop, and make this loop go through the loop on your crochet, like so. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to now go ahead and snip this yarn off, leaving a long tail. We can pull this out of the stitch now and pull this stitch down to fasten this stitch off. Now that completes the head. We're now going to go ahead and fill this head up with some fiber fill, and that completes this. We're now going to work on the arms, and for this we are going to start off with a magic circle. Again, you can either work with a magic circle or chain 2. So we're going to start off with a magic circle this time. So wrap the yarn around your 2 fingers, make an X at the base, turn them over. This is the side you're working with. Put your crochet under the first, pull up a loop using the second bit of yarn from here. Now from here we're going to pick this bit of yarn with our hook, like this, and make it go through the loop on your crochet, and that makes your magic circle. To start round 1, we are going to work 6 single crochets inside the magic circle. So slip your crochet inside, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops on your crochet. That's my first single crochet. Let's go ahead and work 6 all together. Here's my 6th one. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to close the gap between your stitches, and there we go. Now this brings your stitches nice and close together. We're going to now start round 2, and in this round you're going to work an increase in every single one of these stitches. So slip your crochet in the top part of your first single crochet from your previous round and pull up a loop. Again, 2 loops on a crochet, yarn over, pull through both. That's my first single crochet. Going back into that same stitch, and let's go ahead and work another single crochet. That's 2, 3, 4. As we have 6 stitches from our previous round, we should have 12 stitches by the end of this round. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and here's my last stitch, 11 and 12. Now that brings me to the end of this round. We can always pull on this end if there is a gap appearing again. There we go, and that brings all the stitches close together again. Now we're going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work a single crochet followed on with an increase. Now from this round onwards, I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of my rounds. So here's my first single crochet of this round, and I'm going to put a stitch marker. Now let's go ahead and follow this on with an increase. So 2 single crochets in that same stitch. Just like this, go ahead and repeat the same process. So single crochet followed on with an increase, single crochet and increase all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 18 stitches. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in your first stitch. And let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place.
And now I'm going to follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around to complete one round, and we're going to repeat that 3 times to get 3 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of 3 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 18. We're now going to start the next round with a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. There we go. And we're now going to work 3 more single crochets in a row. So here's my second, third and fourth to make the total count to 4. Now once you have your 4 single crochets, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to work a decrease in the next stitch. To do this, you're going to slip your crochet in the next stitch, pull up a loop, do the same with the stitch after that, and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your crochet. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of them in one go. Just like this, we are going to repeat the same combination. 4 single crochets followed on with a decrease, 4 single crochets and a decrease. At the end of this round, I have a total of 15 stitches. We're now going to work the next round by working 3 single crochets in a row. So here's my first, second and third single crochet, and we're going to work a decrease in the next 2 stitches. So pull up a loop from both of those 2 stitches, 3 loops on our crochet, yarn over and pull through all 3 in one go. Now that works our decrease. So just like this, you're going to finish this round by working 3 single crochets, another decrease, and then 3 single crochets, another decrease. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 12. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and we're going to repeat it twice to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of 2 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 12. We're now going At the end of 2 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 12. We're now going to finish off with white color and join pink, bright pink color for Hello Kitty's sleeve. And to do this, I tend to cast off my work first. So to do this, I'm going to work a slip stitch in the next stitch. And let's go ahead and snip this yarn off. And we're going to pull this out of the stitch. There are a variety of ways to change color or change yarn. So if you wish to choose a different method, that's totally fine. Now grab hold of your new yarn. I tend to move a few stitches before where I've finished off my work, and I'm going to pull this yarn through one of these stitches right here. And let's go ahead and give this a little knot in place as well. There we go. And that is how we change our color in this way. So we are now going to pull up a loop from that same stitch, chain 1, and we're going back into that very same stitch, and we're going to work a single crochet this time. So pull up a loop and pull through both loops in one go. Now that's my first single crochet. I'm going to work a single crochet all the way across, so every single one of these stitches is going to have a single crochet in it. And we are then going to repeat it 10 times to have 10 rounds of just single crochet. Once you finish your 10 rounds of single crochet, take a minute to fill this arm up with some fiber fill, and then we will work one last and final round on top. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here. I've now gone ahead and filled this arm up with some fiber fill. Now we're going to work our final round. So with this particular one, we are going to close off the top. So to do this, you're going to make sure first of all that the stitch that you finished with is on one side, and we are going to chain 1 from here. Now we are going to insert our crochet hook into the next stitch like this, and we're going to make this crochet hook go through the back as well. So if I pull these apart, you will see that I've gone through the front of these stitches as well as the back of these stitches. From here, I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 to make my first single crochet across the top. Let's show this one more time to you. So we're going to slip this crochet in the next stitch, making sure it goes out from the back as well. So you are making your way through the front and the back of these stitches in one swift go. Going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. That's my second single crochet. And just like this, we're going to work 6 single crochets across the top. Here's my third, fourth, fifth, and the final one is number 6 right here. And now that I've finished this, I'm going to chain 1, and let's go ahead and snip this yarn off. Pull this out of this stitch, leaving a long tail so that we can stitch this onto the body later. And here we go.
Follow the same instructions one more time to make another one of these arms.
Going to start working on the legs, and for this we are going to start off by working a slip knot. This is an alternative to a magic circle, but if you prefer working with magic circle, by all means do. Now from here we are going to chain 2. There's 1 and 2. Once you have your 2 chains, you're going to work 6 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. So slip your crochet in, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your crochet, yarn over, pull through 2. That's my first single crochet. Let's go ahead and work 5 more to make the total 6. And here's my 6th one. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches, like so. Now we're going to start the next round by working an increase in every single one of these stitches all the way around. So let's go ahead and slip our crochet in the top part of our first single crochet of our previous round. Pull up a loop and work my first single crochet, and in the same stitch we're going to go back again and work our second single crochet. That's my increase. Just like this, let's go ahead and work an increase in all the stitches. And here's my last one, an increase in the last stitch here, which makes my total stitch count to 12. Now from here I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of each round. So we're going to begin by working a single crochet, and I'm going to go ahead and use a stitch marker to identify the start of this round. And there we go. So follow this single crochet on with an increase. So I'm going to work 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and just like this we're going to complete this round by working 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, a single crochet, and increase all the way around. At the end of this round your stitch count should be 18. We're going to start the next round by working 2 single crochets in a row. So here's my first and here's my second. Once you have your 2 single crochets in a row, we're going to follow that on with an increase. And just like this, repeat this combination, 2 single crochets and an increase, 2 single crochet and increase all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 24 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round, you're going to begin by working a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's go ahead and put our stitch marker back in place. And we're now going to follow the single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around.
And we're going to repeat the same process 4 times to have 4 rounds of just single crochet.
Each round should have 24 single crochets in a row. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of 4 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 24. We're now going to be changing the color, and before we do that, we're going to work a slip stitch in the next stitch over. So we're going to pull up a loop from there, make this loop go through the loop that was on your crochet already. Now let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, and we're going to pull this out of the stitch like this. And now I can go ahead and join the new color on top of this particular round, and we can do that anywhere we like. But I personally like to do it a few stitches before where I've just casted my work off. So I'm going to stick my crochet in any of these stitches, pull this new yarn in through that stitch. I tend to give my new yarn a little knot in place. Now there are various varieties of ways to change color, so if you choose to use a different one, that's totally fine. So we are going to slip our crochet back in that same stitch, pull up a loop and work chain 1, and we're going back into that same stitch again, and this time around I'm going to work a single crochet. Here we go. Now from here you're going to work a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and we're going to do that 4 times to have 4 rounds of single crochet. However, I'm going to quickly show you a few more stitches so you know how to conceal this part. So we are going to simply keep working a single crochet on top of each of these stitches. Now where we have worked our slip stitch, you can see it looks like there are 2 stitches there. We are only going to work a single crochet in the stitch where we've worked our slip stitch. So from here I'm going to simply go into that stitch right there and work a single crochet, and from here I'm going to carry on working single crochets all the way around. So just like this, go ahead and work single crochets all the way around for 4 rounds and meet me back here. At the end of 4 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 24. We are going to now cast off with this color, and the leg is now finished. We're going to follow the same instructions and create 1 more of these. But once you finish with the second one, we are not going to cut the yarn off because we're going to join the 2 and carry on working on the body. So in this particular one, you're going to work a slip stitch, chain 1, and we're going to snip this color off now. And I'm going to pull this out of the stitch, and there we go. So go ahead and make another one of these legs, and this time do not snip the color off, keep it joined and meet me back here. Once you finish with the second leg, we are going to join the 2 together by working chain 3 in the middle. Let's go ahead, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, and the third time. Once you have your chain 3, we are going to connect this with this leg into the same stitch where we worked our slip stitch, or wherever you finished your work off. So I'm going to slip my crochet inside that stitch, pull up a loop and work a slip stitch like this. Now let's get this thread out of the way and chain 1. We're going to go back into that very same stitch, and we're going to start the first round of the body by working a single crochet. So I've got my first single crochet there. Now in this round we are going to be working 24 single crochets around this leg, 24 around this leg, and in between we are going to be working 3 when we're going across this side, and then 3 on this side. So let's work on that together. So let's go ahead and work a single crochet around this leg first. I've now worked 24 single crochets around this leg, and that brings me back to the beginning around here. Now this is the stitch where we worked with, so we are now going to work our last single crochet in this stitch, and we're going to work 3 single crochets into these chains. So let's work on this side first. So slip your crochet in, pull up a loop. That's my first single crochet, and here's my second single crochet, and last one, my third single crochet. So once you worked 3 single crochets around these chains, you're going to start working on this leg now. So we're going to go straight into the next stitch, and we're going to work 24 single crochets all the way around here too. I've now worked 24 single crochets around this leg as well, and we're now going to finish round 1 off by working 3 more single crochets around these chains. Now as you can see, we've already worked 3 single crochets in those chains when we were going around the back. Now to work 3 more single crochets in the same chains, we're going to flip this over like this. So the stitches, they're like this. We're going to flip them over so we can work at the base of these stitches. So we're going to work our first single crochet at the base of our single crochet from the back. Here's the second one, and here's the third one. And once we've worked these 3 single crochets, this brings us to the beginning again, where we are going to now start round 2. So starting round 2 with a single crochet in the first stitch, here we go, and we're going to now follow this single crochet on with single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and we're going to work 5 rounds of just single crochets. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should still be 54. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work 7 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and my 7th one. Once you have your 7 single crochets, you're going to work a decrease in the next stitch. So to do this, you're going to put your crochet in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and do the same with the stitch after that. Stick your crochet in and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your crochet. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops in one go, and that creates your first decrease. Just like this, you're going to work 7 single crochets in a row, followed on with a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 48. We're now going to start the next round with a single crochet in this first stitch. We're going to follow the single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and we're going to follow this twice to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of 2 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 48. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work 6 single crochets in a row. Here's my first. Let's go ahead and put the stitch marker back in place. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and my 6th one. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to work a decrease in the next stitch. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches like this. You have 3 loops on your crochet, yarn over and pull through all 3. So we are going to finish this round by working 6 single crochets, a decrease, and repeating all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 42. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. You should have a total of 42. We're going to repeat that twice to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should still be 42. We're now going to start our next round, and in this round you're going to work 5 single crochets in a row. Here's my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and then we're going to work a decrease. So pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches like this. We'll have 3 loops on our crochet, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops in one go. And just like this, follow the same combination of 5 single crochets followed on with a decrease to complete this round. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 36. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to have 4 single crochets in a row followed on with a decrease, 4 single crochets, a decrease, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 30 stitches. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and there should be a total of 30 altogether. And then we're going to repeat this 3 times to have 3 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of this round, your stitch count should still be 30. We're now going to start the next round, and in this round you're going to work 3 single crochets in a row. Let's do that together. There's 1, there's 2 and 3 single crochets in a row, and then we're going to follow that on with a decrease. So pull up the loop from the next 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops in one go. Now just like this, finish this round off by working 3 single crochets followed on by decrease and repeating that all the way around. At the end of this round you should have a total of 24 stitches. We're now going to start one last round of decreases, and in this round you're going to work 2 single crochets in a row. Here's my first and second, and follow this on with a decrease. Pull up a loop from the next 2 stitches, 3 loops on your crochet, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now the same combination needs to be followed throughout to complete this round. So 2 single crochets, a decrease, 2 single crochets and a decrease. At the end of this round you should have a total of 18 stitches. We're now going to just single crochet. So let's start off with 1 single crochet in our first stitch and follow this on with 17 more to make the total count to 18. And then we're going to repeat the same process 2 more times after that to make 3 rounds of just single crochet. At the end of your 3 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 18. We're now going to finish off our work by working a slip stitch in the next stitch over and go ahead and chain 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and snip this yarn off and pull it out of this stitch like this. Pull this stitch down, and that completes the body. Now you can go ahead and fill this body up with some fiber fill and meet me back here. We're now going to start working on the ears, and for this let's take our white yarn and work a slip knot using whatever method you prefer. Let's go ahead and chain 2 to begin. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the loop. Now we are going to begin our round 1, and to do this you're going to skip the first chain and we're going to work 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Here's second, third, fourth, fifth and 6th. Once you have your 6 single crochets, you're going to pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches. This brings us to round 2. Now I'm going to work 1 single crochet in the top part of our single crochet from our previous round. So let's get our crochet in this stitch like this, yarn over, pull up a loop and work our first single crochet here. In the very next stitch we're going to work an increase, which means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. There we go, and we're now going to repeat this combination 2 more times. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase in the next stitch. A single crochet followed on with an increase to complete this round. Here we go. Now at the end of this round we should have a total of 9 stitches. Now we're going to start the next round, and in this round we're going to work 2 single crochets in a row followed on with an increase. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet and then an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet followed on with an increase again, and for the final time the same combination again. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet followed on with an increase to complete this round as well. Now by the end of this round you should have a total of 12 stitches. We're now going to start the next round And in this round, you're going to work 3 single crochets in a row followed on with an increase. Now from here on, I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of each of my rounds. Here we go. So go ahead and work 3 single crochets in a row followed on with an increase, and repeat this combination 3 times to complete this round. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 15 stitches. We're now going to work the next round, and in this round you're going to have 4 single crochets in a row. So here's my first, second, third and fourth. Once you have your 4 single crochets, you're going to follow this on with an increase. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch, and repeat this combination twice to finish this round. At the end of this round, we should have a total of 18 stitches. We're now going to work the next 2 rounds just with single crochets. So you're going to get started from here with a single crochet and work a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. There should be 18 altogether, and then you're going to repeat it one more time to have 2 rounds of just single crochet. We're now going to stitch all the components together, and before we begin, we are going to embroider a nose and whiskers for this Hello Kitty. Now I've already gone ahead and threaded my darning needle with this bright yellow color, iconic for Hello Kitty's nose, and we're going to use these pins. So these are sewing pins. These are usually used to outline exactly how or where you want the nose to be positioned. So let's use this and insert these needles into the face and see exactly how wide you want the nose to be. And I think I'm happy with this. So basically the point of using this is just in case you're not happy with it, you can always take it out and reinsert it if you wish to. But I'm happy with that positioning that I did initially. And once you are happy with that, you're going to take your needle, stick it through this fiber fill and allow it to come out from where the needle is, where the pin is. So I've just pulled it out from there. I can now remove this pin from here, and let's pull the thread out so it's sitting in this fiber fill. Now I'm going to insert this needle, pull this head up and insert this needle in the same stitch as this pin. So I'm going to go very close to it and insert the needle in here. Now I can take this pin out as well. Holding the head sideways, I'm now going to allow the needle to come out from where it was inserted initially, like this. Pull it out, and this should create a loop on top, like this. Now making sure that the 2 bits of thread that we've got, they are sitting side by side and not overlapping. We are going to move on to the next bit, and again we are going to insert the needle back into this stitch here and going to allow it to come out from the other end. And we're going to repeat this process 3 times, and each time this is going to create a loop, and when it does, we are going to make sure that the threads are sitting side by side. Here's one more time. Allow it to come out from the same stitch, like this. And there we go. Now I've gone through the same stitch 3 times, and I'm happy with that size of this nose. If you feel that you would like it a little bit bigger, by all means go and repeat this process a couple more times, but 3 seems to be the right size for this size Hello Kitty. Now I'm going to insert this, so pull these stitches up, and I'm going to insert this needle underneath, so any of these stitches underneath the this yellow nose that we've created, and I'm going to allow it to come through some of this fiber fill, and there we go. Once this happens, we're going to pull this tight and move these threads over the section where we've just put the needle through, and that completes the nose. We are now going to secure this bit of yarn in, and to do this I would just simply give it a knot using this fiber fill. So I've just created a loop put your thread through the loop and pull it down. This creates a knot in place and this should keep the thread secure. There we go. We're now going to go ahead and snip this off, and I can now simply let it rest inside this headspace so no threads are being pulled at any point. Now go ahead and use a darning needle and thread it with black thread this time for the whiskers. Onto the whiskers now. I've already gone ahead and threaded my darning needle with some black yarn, and we are now going to use these pins to identify exactly where we would like the whiskers to be positioned. So we're going to do one side together, and you can go ahead and finish off with the other side. Now let's grab hold of our one pin, and we're going to insert this pin in the same round as this eye. So let's locate that. So this is the round where this eye was inserted, which is right here. We're going to count 2 stitches away. So here's 1, here's 2, and I'm going to insert this pin in the 3rd stitch in the same round as the eye, but 3 stitches away from the 2 stitches away from the eye. So it's inserted in the 3rd stitch. Now let's go grab another pin. We're now going to leave 1 round in between. I'm going to insert this needle directly below this pin into the 2nd round over here. So I've left 1 round in between and then inserted this pin in the round below. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Leave 1 round in between and insert this pin in the round below. So directly underneath again, and here we go. And once you've inserted your pins, and if you're happy with the positioning, we're going to go ahead and grab our darning needle and allow the needle to go through some fiber fill. The reason why we do this is because one of the ends has already been knotted, and this will allow this knot to just sit simply inside this fiber fill and not come out of these stitches. So we are going to guide our needle through so that it comes out from the same stitch as this first pin. So I've taken that out. Now I can take this pin out from there. So get your thread to come out all the way. There we go. And now we are going to keep this in upward motion. So there's the eye, and we're going to do 3 whiskers in 3 different directions. So one is going to be facing up. So I'm going to insert this needle in a round above. So I'm going to leave 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and I've left it about 1 inch. So insert this needle in there, and then you're going to guide it so it comes out from where the 2nd pin is coming out from, just like this. I can now pull this pin out as well. And with this one, I'm going to keep the size exactly the same, so around 1 inch. And I'm going to keep this one straight. Again, guide it to come out from where the 3rd pin is. There we go. And now I can remove this pin as well. And we are now going to insert this one in 1 round below, and again keeping the size to about 1 inch. And once you've done that, allow it to come out through the fiber fill or the opening in this neck area. So just simply pull it out, and that makes our 3 whiskers on this side. We're going to do the same thing on this side as well, and then secure this thread into this fiber fill section as we did with the nose as well. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. We're now going to attach the ears onto this Hello Kitty, and to do this you're going to first of all make sure that the stitch that you finished with on this ear is on one side. Go ahead and thread your darning needle with this little bit of yarn, and make sure that the ear is nice and flat so you're able to stitch the stitches from the back and the front in one swift movement like this. So we want them nice and close together. Now we need to identify where we want them to be positioned. So grab hold of the other ear as well. Again, making sure that the stitch we finished with is on one side. And there we are. Now we are going to pin these in place so we know that they're in the right place and we can go ahead and stitch them on. So we are going to position these ears in or around round 3. So as you can see, this is round 1 in the center, here's round 2, and here's round 3. So we are going to take these corners as our guidance, or the round obviously goes all the way around. We're going to use the front part of this round. So round 3, I would like to insert or stitch this ear at the edge of round 3 right here. So hold this in position and pin it down using your sewing pins. So I'm going to just pin this in place. 1 and 2. Now again, this allows us to see if this is positioned in the right place, or if we would like to make any adjustments at this point, we certainly can by simply moving the pins and moving the ear around. So again, round 1, round 2, round 3. In the front part of this round, I'm going to stitch the edge of the ear. So that's where I want it to be positioned. I roughly think they are in the right place. I'm going to pin it, and then we can analyze if it is symmetrical or not. This ear sideways and insert the other pin as well. Now we are going to simply lift the ear and take a look if it is even or not. And from where I can see it from, this is perfectly positioned. And once we've stitched it, this should allow it to stand straight up like this, as the pins are holding it down at the moment. So that will look perfect. Now that that's done, I'm going to leave this here so that I can deal with that later. And we're going to tackle one ear first. Holding it backwards, I am going to secure one end first. So just around round 3, I'm going to go around the stitches like this and secure the ear from one end only. Go through the stitches on the ear, and let's go again through the stitches on the head and the ear in one go like this. Now that is secure, I can now go ahead and take this pin off, leaving the other one still in place, and we're now going to stitch one stitch at a time together with the ear. So isolate one stitch around the head, and then we are going to make the needle go through the stitches on the ear as well, but making sure it goes from the front and back. So if I pull this apart, you'll be able to see that I've just gone through the front and the back in one go along with the head. So go through it, and each stitch that I make, I tend to go through it twice to make the connection nice and strong. There we go, that's one. Just moving along one stitch at a time. Isolate one stitch, and you're going to go through the stitch, the front and the back of the ear in one swift movement like this. Again, going through the same stitch one more time to allow the connection to be nice and strong, and moving along each time. And here we go. Now we are at the other edge now, and we are now going to take this pin out as well, as we've worked all the way through the ear already. I'm going to go through this stitch one more time, as I've done with all the rest of the stitches as well. And now we're going to make this ear stand up like this, and now we are going to stitch this side from the front. So while facing the ear towards yourself, you're now going to hold the, I tend to hold the thread out of the way and just connect the last stitch like this and go through the ear as well, just the edge now. And we're going to make this connection nice and strong again by going through it one more time. And there we go. Now this time around, I'm going to insert this needle into this stitch, pull the ear forward and come out from the back, very nice and close to the ear. So just like this, you're going to allow it to come out. And now I'm going to secure this thread in place by creating a knot. To do this, you're going to make your needle go through one stitch like this, and we're going to create a loop. Once you have your loop like this, you're going to slip your needle through and pull this stitch down all the way. And this secures your thread in place because it's created a knot. Now I'm going to insert this thread back into that same stitch, and I'm going to just allow it to go through some fibre fill and come out from another side of the head. Now once it's come out, you can go ahead and use your scissors to snip this off. And when you give this a little squeeze, everything should be back to normal shape, and there we go, the ear is stitched on. So use the same method and stitch this ear on as well. As we can see, this has already been secured in place with those pins, so we are going to be stitching exactly the same way as we did with the other one. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here. We're now going to add finishing touches to the body before attaching the head and the body together. So let's go ahead and thread your darning needle with this pink yarn that's coming out of the arm here, and I've already gone ahead and attached one arm. I'm going to show you how to do the next one. So first of all, we're going to give this leg a little squeeze so the side view is quite narrow. We're going to use the leg as a reference and place this arm directly above like this. And once you're holding it in place where you want it, you're going to make it stand up, and you are going to just take a quick look if this is in the right position, and that looks perfect. And now we are going to connect this arm onto the neck here. So we are simply going to go through the stitches on the neck and the arm just like this, one stitch at a time, and connect them in place. Once we reach the other end, you're going to secure this in place by going through the stitch one more time. I'm going to create a loop this time, like this. And we're going to insert this needle through the loop and pull this down, and that creates a loop, that creates a knot in place. And we're now going to just let this thread rest in the middle. So let it come out, and we can now simply stuff all of these bits of yarn inside the neck space, just like this. Okay, so the arms are now attached. Obviously go ahead and attach the second arm, and once you've done that, we are going to grab hold of some pink yarn, and we are going to knot one of the ends, and let's sew these buttons on. If you wish to design embroider buttons on, that's totally fine. I've got these pink patterned buttons, so I'm going to be using these. So you position them in place, so wherever you want it, and use your darning needle to stitch these on, and then meet me back here. Buttons are now sewed on. We are now going to attach the head and the body together. So to be able to do this, you're going to thread the darning needle with this bit of yarn, and you're going to attach the head and body together one stitch at a time. You will notice that there are equal amount of stitches here and the top of the neck here as well. So to do this, as you can see, the stitch that we finished with is at the back and on one side. So we are simply going to hold the two in place. Let me just zoom out for this part actually. There we go. So I'm going to hold the body straight, and the head, I'm going to move it forward and let it go upside down like this. So the head is like this. I'm going to bring it towards the buttons and make it go upside down like this. Now I'm going to hold it in place like this, and so that we can see the back stitches, so this part and that part. Now if I was to move these two close, we will be attaching this stitch just on one side, more nearer to the arm than the center. So we are going to connect just one stitch first like this, so making your thread go through this neck, this stitch. Once it's done that, we are going to hold these two together. Okay, well, holding it in place, you're going to go through the stitch one more time to secure this arm and secure the body and the head together perfectly. There we go. And once that connection is done, we are going to move over to the other stitches. Now it should be nice and easy. Even if you let go, the connection is so strong that it's not going to come undone, and it should stay in place. Now we're going to stitch one stitch at a time from the head with one of these stitches on the neck. So go through one stitch on the head and then one stitch on the neck like this. Pull this down each time. One stitch on the head, one stitch on the neck, pull them in, one stitch on the head, one stitch on the neck, pull it in, and just like this, you're going to make your way all the way around until you reach the first stitch over there. So go ahead and work that and meet me back here. I've now made my way all the way around, and we are now going to finish off with this by putting our needle into that same very first stitch, and I'm going to pull this through, creating a loop. So we're just going to leave a tiny little loop here, and I'm going to put my needle through this loop and now simply pull this down. This will create a knot in place. If you wish to do this one more time, just to make the connection a little bit more stronger, by all means do. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Here's my loop, stitch, put the needle through and pull this down, and that creates a knot in place. Once you've done that, you're going to stick this needle back into that same stitch, allow the needle to go through some fiber fill and poke out from another part or another side of the head. And there we go. Now we can go ahead and snip this yarn, and there you have it. Now the head is joined and this Hello Kitty is complete. There we go. If you enjoyed making this Hello Kitty with me, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.